Hello, and welcome back to another stream within RST. Finally, moving on into the semifinals brackets, and we are getting into our second match within semifinals, which is going to be Shed versus Unitori in the winners bracket. So these two are fighting for basically guaranteed top three within the finals at least, but we can move on with Unitori winning the role. And it does look like we'll be seeing a Protect on Rice 6 and a Protect on Ellen 2. But we are now going into bans. Gonna be interesting to see what gets banned. I mean, this pool is very diverse. It looks like we'll be seeing a ban on Rice Wanda coming from Unitori, which I guess could make sense, seeing that this might potentially be kind of more Ellen versus Rice oriented, just because, I mean, speed, at least at this level, can get really difficult. I mean, both these players are really good, but I would say Shed has, I guess, a little bit of an advantage when it comes to kind of Rice. Unitori having a little bit of advantage when it does come to Ellen, but with these pools being so much more physical, I mean, it could go either way, to be honest. But it is Unitori's pick, and they really do get to choose their first pick. I mean, the pool is already as kind of diverse as you can get, so one ban on Ellen and Rice isn't the end of the world completely. But it looks like we'll be seeing Ellen 3 being chosen. Our technical Ellen could be Shiver. Honestly, a really interesting kind of opening to a match like this one, but I guess it does make sense. I mean, a pick like this is already kind of or not unorthodox in a sense, as in the fact that it has a lot of kind of strange patterns. I mean, it is a technical element. You do have to expect some sort of kind of trickiness to it, and some, I guess, at times abrasive patterning. But it looks like we are waiting to see some kind of technical difficulties coming from Unitori. But hopefully, we'll be surely getting into this. But here we go, finally getting into this pick. We're going to go into our technical LN pick. It's honestly going to be really interesting to see how both these players do. I mean, from what we've seen, Shed typically would ban this type of LN, and a pick like this would technically just benefit Unitori at best. So, gonna be interesting, but with difficulty kind of scaling up, things could potentially switch around. We start off fairly technical, not too complex, but it is still a little bit of kind of tricky patterning. Not too dense, but as we slowly kind of build up here, the density will slowly start to pick up throughout the map. And as we do start to get into kind of more denser areas, Shed starting to drop a little bit in terms of accuracy. The density picking up just a little bit more again. I mean, you see both these players not really struggling to kind of combo, but their accuracy is definitely being kind of a bit lower, which does make sense, especially for the kind of trickiness of this map. I mean, Unitori still holding a 99.7, Shed a little bit below that marking, but still doing rather fine. Unitori getting a little bit of a drop though. Shed getting a miss on those bursts right there, which definitely could seal his fate with this pick. I mean, just like that though, Unitori looking to get this first point in. That first point going to Unitori with 986. I mean, it is quite a difficult map. I mean, still good scores coming from both these players regardless though. But I mean, it is Shed's pick now, so I mean, things could really change. But looks like we'll be seeing SV1. Quite the interesting pick, but I guess it could make sense. It'll be our second time seeing the SV as well, I believe, so definitely going to be interesting to see how both these players do. Alright, moving into kind of a different type of SV from the last round. It's definitely going to be interesting to see how both these players do. I mean, physicality shouldn't really be an issue within this SV at least. But here we go, moving on to this SV pick now. And here we go, slowly rolling in as the client loads in. And it's very famous within those early reverse SVs. Always fun to see. I mean, you definitely do see a big difference when it comes to both of these players. Now, Unitori sight reading, Shed was 99.7 still, which is very impressive. But we'll have to kind of see how that accuracy does continue. As we continue on though, I mean, Shed's still holding that really strong accuracy. Unitori comes below that 90% range. Not really much that he can really do. especially on a map like this where sight reading is gonna be very brutal. Getting into this memory part though. As we do get past that part, I mean, Shed's still holding a really strong 99.7. Unitori starting to drop a little bit more in that accuracy range. As we do continue on, I mean, basically most of the memory parts basically done. There's one more part that could trip either player off, but I mean, we do kind of have to wait and see. But as we continue on, I mean, Shed's still holding a 99.7 throughout this entire map. I mean, what can you do in a situation like this one? Shed was a 991 on the SV map in semifinals with an SS! A V1 SS coming from Shed! A V1 SS on semifinals coming from Shed! What on earth? A V1 SS coming from Shed in match on a map like this. What do you even do? What do you even do in a situation like that one? What can you even do? But I mean, it is Unitori's pick. I mean, all the SVs are gone at least. So that's something Unitori definitely doesn't have to worry about. But looks like Unitori going for L on 1. But we'll be going into our coordination pick. Gonna have to see how these players do. But as we are exiting this intro part, we're gonna get into a little bit more intense inverse. I mean, Unitori was a little bit of a slight lead. I mean, the percentages speak a lot more rather than the scoring, but you can definitely tell a little bit of a difference in here. I mean, especially as we continue with these kind of intense inverse sections, but slowly we will be moving out of these sections where things could potentially change, but I would say with Unitori doing really well on this kind of beginning section, the rest of this map really shouldn't pose much of an issue at least. Shed getting a miss as we are getting into the halfway mark. Definitely not something he wants to see, but I mean, there are still a lot of picks. This is still very early on into the match, so it doesn't hurt the most, especially seeing as this is Unitori's pick. Moving on into more inverse sections though. Into a small break part though. And here we go, gonna continue on with some more inverse in here. Unitori still holding very strong combo, with some decent accuracy as well. Looking to take this one as well. Shed getting another miss as we approach this ending. I mean, not really much that Shed can do, especially as Unitori is still holding full combo within this map. I mean, 988, really good score. Definitely a little bit of a difference in terms of ratio. Not by too much, I would say, but you can definitely see it a little bit. But I mean, it is Shed's pick now. It looks like we'll be seeing Rice 6 put into play. And into our Jack pick. But here we go, moving on into this next pick.
1, 2, let's go.
But here we go. Gonna be interesting to see how this goes. I mean, this is the first rice map to be picked. I mean, so far both these players doing fairly well. Shed with a near 99.9. Unitori slowly building up that accuracy. Getting a miss as we are proceeding though. Yeah, we are continuing. I mean, Shed slowly trying to build up the accuracy, but looks like kind of flickering around that 99.88 range. Unitori getting another miss. Yeah, Spirit Continue. I mean, nothing much that Unitori really is able to do, especially with Shed just completely destroying this map. I mean, a 990 on this map is already impressive enough, but 99.88. Another miss coming from Unitori though. I mean, not even much that Unitori can even do to preserve a run like this. I mean, especially when you're going against an absolute beast like Shed within a map like this one. I mean, a 996 coming from Shed. What do you do? I mean, Unitori doing decent as well, but I mean, you can't really do much in a situation like this one. Looks like we'll be seeing LN2 being chosen though, our final LN, within this match at least. I mean, you still have all the hybrids, so not completely lost. Here we go. Going into our density pick. And here we go, going on to this map finally. I mean, this being a little bit on the faster side for the Allens, it's going to be really interesting to see how these players really do. I mean, trying to get, really past this. Shed with an ever so slight advantage, but it really does look like things are flipping between both these players, so really hard to tell. But I'm sure as we kind of get past things, it will slowly start to even out. Shed getting a miss as we kind of go into this more denser section. Unitori trying to get into that 99.7 range. Shed trying to kind of climb back up near that range that Unitori's in, but I mean, with that miss, what can you even manage to do? Even the most perfect gameplay won't really get you there, but things could easily change, especially as we are kind of getting into the second half. Getting another miss as we are moving past here. The Unitori still staying consistent near that 99.68 range. It's actually going to build up into that range though, but we do kind of have to wait and see it. Shed's getting another miss. I mean, with how much of the map is left, there isn't even much that can be done, especially as the density doesn't even lower at all. Anything, it kind of picks up a little bit, but not by too much. A miss coming from Unitori though, but it is not going to be enough to get that point, especially with this ending here. Unitori going to be getting that third point though. Looks like a timeout coming from Shed though. I mean, impressive scores coming from both players. I mean, Shed potentially trying to reconsider what might be a good pick. But it looks like we'll be seeing Rice 7 being chosen. But here we go. Does look like we'll be going into this map now. Going into BPM equals RT on 1.05 times, so definitely a little bit of a slight bump up from the original. But here we go, as we are kind of getting past this intro. Some bursts coming in, but the Jack's gonna really start to kind of be more present as we get through. Unitori looking to hit that one kind of long direct a little bit off, but not too much harm as... Oh, I thought Unitori was at 99, but it looks like Unitori dropping below that 99 range. Slowly building up there, but definitely having a little bit of a struggle. Shed holding that 99.7, but Unitori's really gonna have to hope that Shed gets a miss. But just as I say that, Unitori getting a miss, definitely not what he wants to see. But I mean, that accuracy is slowly starting to build up. And as we are kind of getting through this, I mean, Shed just ever so slightly below that 99.7 range, but definitely easy to kind of build up, especially with a map like this where patterns are rather simple. There are some kind of bursts and grace notes which definitely can trip you up, but other than that, it is fairly simple. Unitori slowly building up that accuracy as well, especially as we're going to get into kind of a more intense section. Getting out of that break part. Another miss coming from Unitori. Shed dropping a little bit of accuracy as we kind of get through this. The miss coming just at the very end for Unitori. Shed dropping quite a bit of accuracy from what we did saw, but I mean, it's still rather good, so no harm done at least on his side. A 987 coming from Shed. 3 points away from a 988. But, I mean, 2 grades, not too bad. Definitely see a huge difference in ratio. I mean, if Unitori was able to kind of play this a bit more comfortably, potentially could have gone towards him, but I mean, at the end of the day, it isn't his pick, so it's not the worst. But I mean, it is Unitori's pick now, so things could change. But it looks like we'll be seeing Hybrid 2 being chosen. With the Pixel Heart 1.2 times, our stream focused hybrid. And here we go, going into our stream-focused hybrid. Gonna be interesting to see how things go, especially as this is a very, very different take on the kind of picks we've been seeing. I mean, we've just been seeing Ellen and Rice, but we're finally delving into a mix of both. Shed getting a very early miss, which, ooh, a very, very bad one at that as well. Definitely gonna favor Unitori a lot more. I mean, as they're kind of getting through this kind of break part, nothing really too much happening. I mean, Shed building back into that 99 range, but Unitori still holding pretty strong score. I mean, all Unitori has to do is really just kind of stay consistent through this, and this point could easily be his. Miss coming from Unitori though, but it isn't going to be as detrimental as Shed's miss, so there is still potential for him to still have this point. But I mean, as we are kind of getting past this part into the ending, things are starting to get ever so slightly closer, especially as Shed is looking to build up that actually just a little bit more, especially with these bursts kind of coming in, being a little bit awkward at times. It definitely can for both these players up, especially in terms of accuracy. But as we're kind of coming to an end, it does look like Unitori will be getting this point. But it is Shed's pick. It'll be interesting to see how things go. Looks like we'll be seeing Rice too, though. Let's see our jump stream, hand stream pick. But here we go, moving on to our jump stream, hand stream pick. I mean, Shed looking to kind of take this point, but we'll have to see how things go. I mean, especially in a map like this where things get a lot more faster, it can be interesting to see how both these players perform at least. Okay, as we're continuing though, I mean, it looks like Unitori having just an ever so slight advantage, but we'll have to see. Especially as things are very tricky, in a map like this one at least. I mean, both these players really starting to kind of have a little bit of difficulty keeping up with a map like this. Not the most difficult time, but you can definitely tell that there's an ever so slight struggle. I mean, it's really difficult to say who has a clear advantage in a map like this one. I mean, soon things will start to pick up a little bit in terms of density, so things might be a little bit more clear, but it does look like Shed's gonna start to take an ever so slight advantage, but the density will start to pick up just a little bit now. So things will probably even out a lot more, as if they weren't already. The miss coming from Unitori as we are approaching the end though, definitely not what you wanted to see, especially with how this map has been going, but I mean, it does look like they are struggling a little bit, so not too much that Unitori could have really done, but still a decent score coming from Shed. The V1 SS as well. But I mean, it is Unitori's final pick, regardless of the outcome. Looks like we'll be seeing Hybrid 3, our technical hybrid. And here we go, going into Exit This Earth's Atmosphere, 200 step remix on 1.1, I believe. Our technical hybrid, a very, very tricky one as well, so things really could go either way. I mean, we haven't really seen too much of tech within this match. I mean, we only saw LN3. And here we go, moving on to our technical hybrid, our final pick coming from Unitori, a very, very important pick from Unitori as well. I mean, this will determine if things can go in his favor. Whether or not but here we go. I mean, at this point within the match, I mean, it's so intense for both these players. I mean, they're so close to the tiebreaker. Both these players wanting to punch their ticket all the way into the finals winners bracket to be guaranteed into that grand finals matchup. I mean, there's definitely a lot at stake for both these players. But here we go, the intensity gonna slowly build up a little bit. But here we go, as things start to get a little bit more tricky, start seeing mini jacks being kind of put into place. A miss coming from Unitori, definitely not what he wants to see, especially this late into the match. I mean, there's so much at risk for Unitori here. Another miss coming from him. I mean, Shed's still holding very strong accuracy, not looking to really tear that apart, especially in a map like this one. Unitori really starts to struggle on a map like this one. Definitely not what you want to see in a situation like this one. I mean, Unitori dropping below that 99 range. Shed holding a very strong 99.7. But here we go, moving on into this next session, where Ellen starts to become a little bit more intrusive. I mean, is it really possible at this point for Unitori to get this point? Especially with how consistent Shed has been playing. I mean, he might get a miss or two within this section, but I mean, it's not going to be kind of match-breaking to the point where it can instantly switch. Especially with Unitori getting another miss. I mean, it kind of speaks for what this map really has to bring. Not really much that Unitori can even do at this point, especially with how far we are. Shed with a 991, going to take that point. Which does bring it to match point for Shed. A very, very detrimental moment. Looks like we'll be seeing Rice for our stamina pick. Oh no, sorry, our mixed pick. But here we go, going into our mixed rice pick, our more stream focused mixed rice. Gonna have to see how this treats both these players. I mean, in terms of kind of density, it is ever so slightly lighter, but there are still quite the number of tricky patterns. But with how kind of consistent Shit's been playing, I mean, this does look very bad for Unitori. But potentially things could swing around. We could potentially see tiebreaker in place, but it is still quite too early to really comment on that, as we do start to build up into more intensity. I mean, as we're kind of progressing through this Shed with just a bit of a lead, Unitori really dropping that accuracy a little bit. I mean, that actually really starting to drop down though, especially with this intenser part. But as things start to slow down, things start to get a little bit more awkward. Things are coming really close to the end though. I mean, it's looking really hard for Unitori to get this point back, unless Shed gets a detrimental chain of misses, but that does look very unlikely, especially with how consistent he's been playing. As we do get to this ending though, looks like Shed will be taking this home. 992. And a V1 SS as well. A very good score coming from Shed. Unfortunately though, Unitori going to be dropping down into the losers bracket, meaning that Shed will be moving on to the winners finals, guaranteeing top 3. And Unitori will be dropping down into the losers finals, where he's going to have to face quite a number of opponents. I mean, the losers bracket already looking very scary already. Unitori going to have to face the winner of Dark and Tricer versus Backjefka, and then after that, going to have to face the winners on the top side. Some very, very scary opponents as well, but Shed going to face Ice Defy within the finals, which is gonna be interesting to see, especially as things will start to bump up so much more. But that does conclude this match, and that does conclude all the matches for today. But that does conclude what we have in store, and for now, the next match will be tomorrow, so I've been your commentator Znow, and I'll be seeing you around.